May 20th, 1932. A 34-year-old woman, alone in the sky, battles fierce winds, ice, and a struggling engine across the vast Atlantic. After nearly 15 exhausting hours crossing the ocean from Canada, she finally sights land, a quiet pasture in Northern Ireland. As she brings her Lockheed Vega down onto the soft earth, a farmhand approaches and asks, "Have you flown far?" She smiles and simply replies, "From America." Welcome to the story of Amelia Earhart. Born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas, Amelia Earhart was raised in an era when the sky was reserved for birds and dreams. From a young age, she defied convention, climbing trees, shooting rats with a rifle, and keeping a scrapbook of newspaper clippings about successful women in male-dominated fields. Her curiosity knew no bounds. During World War I, she worked as a nurse's aide in Toronto, where she met wounded pilots and first became fascinated with aviation. But it wasn't until 1920, at an airfield in California, that she truly caught the flying bug. A 10-minute plane ride with veteran aviator Frank Hawks changed everything. Amelia later said, "By the time I got 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew I had to fly." She pursued flying relentlessly. She took lessons from pioneering female aviator Nita Snook, worked odd jobs to afford her own plane, and soon bought a bright yellow Kinnair's Ter, which she nicknamed the Canary. In 1922, she set her first record, soaring to 14,000 feet, the highest altitude reached by a woman at the time. But it was in 1928 that Amelia truly became a household name. She was invited to join a transatlantic flight, not as a pilot, but as a passenger. The flight, piloted by Wilmer Stultz and Lewis Gordon, made her the first woman to cross the Atlantic by air. Though she didn't fly the plane herself, the press dubbed her Lady Lindy, comparing her to Charles Lindbergh. Amelia, however, was not content with being a passenger in history. She wanted to fly it. In 1932, Amelia took off alone from Harbor Grace, Newfoundland, in her red Lockheed Vega. 15 hours later, battered by fatigue and storms, she landed in Culmore, Northern Ireland, becoming the first woman to complete a solo transatlantic flight. In that moment, she became iconic. Over the next few years, she set multiple aviation records. She became the first woman to fly solo across North America and back, the first to fly solo from Honolulu to Oakland, and the first to fly from Los Angeles to Mexico City. Her fame grew, but so did her determination. Awards and recognition followed swiftly. President Herbert Hoover awarded her the Distinguished Flying Cross, the first ever given to a woman. She used her fame not for vanity, but to promote women's rights, aviation safety, and technical advancement. But Amelia Earhart's story would not end in triumph alone. In 1937, she set out to achieve her most ambitious goal yet, to fly around the world at the equator, a 29,000-mile journey that few had dared to attempt. Her aircraft, a Lockheed Electra 10E, was a twin-engine, all-metal monoplane equipped with the most advanced navigation tools of the time. She was accompanied by Fred Noonan, a skilled navigator. They began their journey from Oakland, California, heading eastward. By late June, after traveling nearly 22,000 miles, they arrived in Papua New Guinea. Only 7,000 miles remained, most of it over the vast Pacific Ocean. Their next stop, a tiny U.S. island called Howland Island, barely visible from the air. On July 2, 1937, Amelia and Fred took off into the morning sky. Radio contact with the U.S. Coast Guard vessel Itasca was poor. Amelia's voice crackled with increasing urgency. "We are on the line 157 to 337, running north and south." Then silence. Search efforts began immediately and would become the most extensive in U.S. Navy history at that point. But no trace of Amelia or Fred was ever found. Amelia Earhart vanished, but never faded. Her legacy lives on not in how she disappeared, but in how she lived, boldly, curiously, and fearlessly. She opened the skies not just for women, but for anyone who dared to dream beyond the horizon. In her own words, "The most effective way to do it is to do it."